Ladies and gentlemen, welcome in to the Sactown Sports Recap Show. My name is Chris Watkins. I was not. Let me tell you what. There was about 5 different ways this game could have gone, and the way it ended up going was probably last on my list of the most likely probabilities. The Sacramento Kings somehow, some way, end up winning this crazy game here at Golden One Center. 127-126 on the second night of a back-to-back against the Denver Nuggets, the best team in the Western Conference. And you saw why for a majority of this game, ladies and gentlemen. I mean, man, oh man, I don't want to play Denver ever again. This team is incredibly tough. I mean, Nikola Jokic, his performance tonight was absolutely incredible. You see why he's a 2-time MVP in this league. I mean, what a handful that guy was. 40 points on the night. 6 assists, 7 rebounds. The Kings had no answer for him at all. And when Denver was looking their worst and when the Kings, kind of had Denver on their back a little bit against the ropes, all Denver did was go to Jokic time and time again, and he delivered every single time. An incredible performance from Nikola Jokic tonight. Absolutely. He carried Denver for a lot of that fourth quarter. They really struggled to get things going in that fourth quarter, and Jokic absolutely helped them up. But you know what? We're not here to talk about the Denver Nuggets. We are not here at all to talk about the Denver Nuggets because the Sacramento Kings ended up pulling out the win in this one. I mean, where should we start? We should start at the beginning, I guess. Coming into today, after not playing yesterday's game, Domantas Sabonis was questionable coming in tonight. It was really, we found out, I think, about an hour and a half before tip-off that Sabonis was going to give it a go. I sat, I'm looking at the court right now. I sat courtside during the pregame warm-ups and watched Sabonis warm up, go through his normal routine, and I was nervous. I can't lie. You see his right hand is wrapped up in just some bandage and, some pre-wrap, nothing too special. So I thought there was a chance that maybe we saw Sabonis for a couple minutes tonight, maybe on a little bit of a minutes restriction, but it did not seem like his right hand hampered him at all tonight. He was incredibly aggressive going at Nikola Jokic from the start. Jokic picked up 2 early fouls in the game. You would have liked to see the Kings really continue to go at him, force him into foul trouble. He ends up with 3 fouls after picking up 2 quick ones in the game. That's definitely something that I would have liked to see, but you can't complain with the performance. Sabonis wasn't hampered at all by that right hand, and he finishes off the night with – did he finish with 30? He did. Wow. I mean, look at this. I don't think I've ever seen this. Maybe it happened during the Rudy Gay, DeMarcus Cousins, Isaiah Thomas era. The Sacramento Kings had 3 players tonight finish with 30-plus points. Domantas Sabonis, 31 points. 10 rebounds, 5 assists. De'Aaron Fox had an incredible night, an incredible fourth quarter. He was 6 of 7 in that fourth quarter. Absolutely carried the Kings down the stretch there in the fourth quarter. He ends up with 31 and 13. And Malik Monk, the super sub, we've seen him do this all season long, come off the bench and be that spark plug that the Kings need. They absolutely needed him tonight. Their offense was terrible in that first quarter. It was really bad in the first half as well. And Malik was really the huge bright spot for the Kings consistently throughout the night. He finishes off with 33 points, 12 of 21 from the field, 4 of 8 from 3. Just such an incredible job. I'm sweating over here. I didn't play a single minute tonight, and I was sweating up here just watching this game. What a performance. It seemed like it wasn't going to be the Kings' night for a majority of this one. Every single time that the Kings would get any form of momentum, they were down 15 to 20 points for a majority of this game. And, every time they would get it within 12, within 13, close to single digits. I think they got it within 9 a couple times. Denver always had a 3 to respond. Michael Porter Jr., I thought, had another good night tonight, 19 points. Wasn't nearly as hot as he was last night when he dropped 30. Bones Highland, I thought, was incredible tonight filling in for Jamal Murray. They really didn't miss him at all. He finishes off with 20 points, 11 rebounds. Him and Jokic were, that combination of Bones Highland, and I think it is huge credit to Nikola Jokic, who is, he's a once in a generation type player, and especially in the pick and roll where he excels. He's just an absolute monster in the pick and roll. It's so hard to get around him. I was saying I sit next to my Return of the Roar co-host Frankie Cardicelli during the games, and I was just telling him, man, like it's crazy. He's like a super Sabonis. He really is. And I mean, I'm not, that's nothing new. That's not new information to anybody. But just the things that he's able to do for this team, not even, last night was a perfect example of the things Jokic can do when he's not even scoring. In that first half, Jokic only took 2 shots, but absolutely, led the team facilitating and just creating open opportunities for his teammates. And tonight, it looked like Denver's other guys were going to be the reason why the Kings lost tonight. I wrote down in that third quarter, at the end of that third quarter, Denver's bench was 8 of 10 from the field, had 20 points. Guys who shouldn't be getting contributions from, absolutely stepped up for Denver. Huge shout out to them. But, I mean, this is just an absolutely resilient win for the Sacramento Kings. Let's see what they were shooting, because, I mean, they could not hit a shot in that first half. They shoot 43% from the field at the half, 36% from 3 at half. Denver was 63% from the field at halftime, 53% from the field or from 3 at the end of half. They end at 57% from the field, 44% from 3. So an absolute dynamite shooting night from Denver, and it wasn't enough as once again the Kings just. This is just such an incredible win. Probably my favorite win of the season so far, all things considered. When you factor in just the unlikeliness of it all, and how they couldn't make shots, and then just never ever gave up on this one. I mean, this is a game where it felt like, at halftime, the Kings were only down by 13. It felt like it very easily could have been a 25, 30-point lead for Denver at halftime. And for the Kings to fight through this one and end up on the other side, I mean, what an incredible win. I'm sure they're going to celebrate this one hard. Jordi Fernandez comes from the Denver bench. Last season was on the Denver coaching staff. I'm sure he's going to enjoy this one. I mean, what a game. Put in the comments here your thoughts on tonight. I mean, who was your star of the night on a night where De'Aaron scores 31 and 13? Sabonis on a night where it was questionable whether or not he was going to play, comes in 31, 10 and 5. Malik Monk, 33 points, his highest scoring outing of the season, if I'm not mistaken. Who was your guys' player of the game? I'm very curious. I'll tell you who my defensive player of the game is. Somebody who absolutely stepped up tonight. What was his final box score? KZ Okpala, I thought, played incredible tonight. 17 minutes, which we haven't seen him get that kind of minutes since early in the season. Ends up with 3 blocks and a steal. So, some slocks, I think, or some, I don't know, some combination of steals and blocks. To end up with 4 is Mike Brown talked about before the season when the Kings brought in KZ, that he felt like KZ Okpala had defensive player of the year potential. And we absolutely saw that tonight with his 3 blocks and a steal. Incredible performance from KZ Okpala. It'll be interesting to see if he continues to have a role with this team. I thought he was a much needed, much welcomed addition to tonight's lineup. And, I haven't been the biggest fan of KZ playing a lot this season. I think, it's a lot like the Mo Harkless situation of last year is what I've compared it to, where, yes, he is incredible on the defensive end, but just his lack of offensive ability keeps him off the floor a lot at times. And I thought tonight he was so good defensively. We saw him hit a corner 3, which shocked the hell out of me. I did not think he would take and make that shot. But that's, that honestly might have kept KZ on the floor, and the Kings absolutely needed him tonight. I thought KZ definitely deserved that vaunted defensive player of the year chain that I don't think we've seen since rumor happened that Keegan Murray broke the chain. So it'll be interesting to see if KZ gets the chain tonight. Let's go to the comments here. I love this comment from Bench Matthew. My hands hurt from angry clapping. I definitely relate to that. When I am not here at the games, I'm definitely watching the TV and come on, man. Yeah, I feel that. Tonight there was probably a lot of angry clapping for the majority of this game. It was not really crazy because you have your outline of how you think the game's going to go, so you kind of, as you're writing things down, you have like a certain amount of emotion going into this thing. And so obviously I for the majority of this game thought the Kings were going to lose. So a lot of my notes are about, oh yeah, the Kings. I mean, let's talk about, a win's a win and a win's nice and it's going to cover things up. But man, for 3 quarters here, the Denver Nuggets had layup lines, and that's what their offense was let's get to the rim and let's take a layup, and no one was there to stop them. I think on the surface level, you would probably blame the Kings bigs, Domantas Sabonis, for the penetration that was allowed. But in reality, when you look at it, Sabonis did incredible against Jokic. There's really not much you can do. He had 40 points, but if you go and watch the film, Sabonis was on him, and they sent doubles on him, and I think they played really well on Jokic. What really killed them was just the pick and roll. I thought their perimeter defenders really let him down. Bones Highland did an incredible job of keeping the defender on his backside, and really took advantage of the Kings guards all night. And if I had to put blame on anyone for the layup line that was going on, it's the guards and frankly the people who were playing in the dunker spot position on defense. I think there was a lot of people. Jokic just creates so much attention when he gets the ball on the outside of that charge circle that it forces people up, and then it kind of just allows an easy backdoor cut. And we saw that time and time again. And I think when this game really changed in the Kings' momentum was when you saw Kevin Huerter down on the left block. He got a steal on that same exact play where Jokic, and it had been working all game. Like I said, Jokic gets the ball right at the top of the key, right at the top of the paint, or at the charge circle, and you just stay in your position. It's not getting sucked in. It's not losing your man behind you. And it took 3.5 quarters for the Kings to finally understand to stay in position. But when they finally did, I think that's what turned this thing around at the end. They were able to hang with the Nuggets somehow for a majority of this game. And once they finally started getting stops, that's when you saw them truly cut into the lead and make this thing a game. Something I just did. I have no idea how we ended up here with the Kings winning 127-126. Just absolutely incredible. This is interesting. Is it a choke job? I mean, for sure, if you're on the Denver Nuggets side, you're looking at this saying, we were up all game. We were dominating them. They couldn't hit a shot. We couldn't miss a shot. And then for us to lose this game in heartbreaking fashion, it can't feel good. But you know what? Sucks to suck. That's what happened to the Kings last night. It's the same exact thing. The Kings were up 20, had real momentum in the game. They had the home crowd behind them. And, the Kings blew the lead flat out. They definitely should have won last night as well. And Denver kind of got a taste of their own medicine. I mean, this is exactly what the Kings fans were feeling like last night. So, it sucks if you're a Denver fan, but, us Sacramento Kings fans over here, you got to take this win and you got to feel great about it, regardless of whether, you want to have the debate of did Denver choke this or did the Kings win it. I think the Kings, just to put my 2 cents into that conversation, I think the Kings absolutely won this. I mean, for them, like I said, to just not be hitting shots all day, for them to just not give up. And it sounds cliche. It seems like something every team should do, not give up. But for them to continue to try and play defense and continue to take shots and make shots, I mean, that was just absolutely huge. I was scared. I can't lie. In that fourth quarter, Malik Monk was making me a little bit nervous. He was definitely feeling his oats a little bit. That's like the live and die with Malik. Malik, obviously, you live with the 33 points part of it. But I thought he made some pretty questionable moves and passes in transition, or lack of passes in transition. But at the end of the day, he made the key play in transition down the stretch, and that's you gotta, again, live and die by Malik Monk, and that's absolutely what they did. Malik was absolutely the key to tonight's win. Without Malik Monk's huge performance off the bench, Kings don't have it. Without De'Aaron Fox going crazy in that fourth quarter, the Kings don't win this one. And without Domantas Sabonis just not missing a beat, the Kings absolutely do not win this one. I thought it was a good little 2-game series for Trey Lyles. He only finishes 2 of 3 from the field tonight, 5 minutes. He was a plus 13 in the box, plus minus. Last night, you saw the Kings go to a small ball lineup that had Trey Lyles at the 5. Offensively, I thought it was a good idea. I thought it helped them get a little bit more space and movement offensively, where tonight they were really stagnant at times on offense. They finished with 32 assists, which absolutely shocks me because it just didn't seem like the ball was humming around the perimeter the same that we've seen so far this season. But Trey Lyles was great tonight and great last night as well. It'll be interesting to see if the Kings go to that again with Trey at the 5 in the future. I thought it wasn't when you go against 7'3", 260, 70-pound Nikola Jokic, not many people are going to be able to defensively match up with him. And, Trey is no different. He's going to struggle defensively against a guy like Jokic. But I thought offensively he stretched the floor, made Jokic step out last night. And, I very much like the play of Trey Lyles in this nice little 2-game series. Did anybody else stick out? Just another slow night from Harrison Barnes and Keegan Murray. They finish off with a combined 13 points, 4 of 15 from the field, 1 of 7 from 3 for the two of them. It's unfortunately, it seems like, Harrison, we've seen this from him every so often. It seems like he'll play well, play aggressive, have a certain amount of aggression and physicality in a half, and then you see a completely different player in a second half. He'll go through games, series of games like that as well. It's a little disheartening to see Keegan Murray kind of falling under that same kind of thing where, I think tonight Keegan was unafraid to take his shots. I thought he had some good looks, but I mean, he was off tonight. We saw him completely airball a 3, and he barely touched the bottom of the net. It's unfortunate. It's the highs and lows of a rookie season, but you just like to see them perform better. But their main guys were their main guys tonight, and they were the reason why they won. Let's see here. Yeah, I mean, this is a big problem that I've talked about a lot this season. Is Kings' only long-rangey player is KZ Okpala. It's a real problem, and it's been a problem for this team for as long as I can remember. I mean, you look back even with Rudy Gay was kind of in a similar situation where he was our only long-rangey guy. Travis Outlaw was somebody else who was like that as well. Kings have never really had that position. They've never really had much depth at that forward wing position. A 6'7", 6'8", 6'9" guy who can do a lot of things and create havoc defensively. KZ's absolutely the only guy on the team that I see right now that's like that, but I would welcome that at the deadline. Ooh, excuse me. I feel like I haven't taken a breath in 20 minutes. Excuse me. Whew, let's go to the comments. Absolutely agree with this. We need a big man. We need a big man really bad, someone to back him up. Rashawn played tonight. He played that backup center position tonight. Nothing special that I can remember tonight. Let me look at his box score here. Rashawn played just under 10 minutes, no points, +5 on the box plus minus, 1 total rebound. So really nothing special from Rashawn tonight. It's been a common theme, unfortunately. Last night, I thought he had a pretty decent game. I believe he had 8.7 rebounds in last night's game. Didn't have a good performance tonight. It's it's been a problem all season, and it's definitely the thing that if you had to guess what the Kings are most likely to address at the deadline, it is that backup big. And they've searched far and wide. They've looked at Chimezi Metu. They've looked at Alex Len. We saw get minutes last night. Neemias Queta has gotten a shot. Rashawn Holmes has gotten multiple opportunities and really hasn't ran away with the position at all. So it definitely seems like that backup big position is still one of need and one that needs to be addressed. Michael Porter Jr., man, oh man, that guy. I mean, for a little bit of history on Michael Porter Jr., for those who don't know, it was highly rumored that if the Kings did not move up in that 2018 draft where they got Marvin Bagley with the number 2 pick, had the Kings stayed at number 7 and not moved up on lottery night, signs were pointing that Michael Porter Jr. was going to be the pick for the Sacramento Kings. So there's a lot of history with the Kings and Michael Porter Jr. And he absolutely has shown out. What is that? 59 points. Is that correct? No, that's not correct. 49 points in 2 games in back-to-back nights here for Michael Porter Jr. What did he finish with from the field? 6 of 12, 4 of 8 from 3 for MPJ, 7 boards. It's what he does. 3 block shots as well. I mean, for someone to be his size, his length, and to have his shot making ability, there's I say a handful of guys. There's maybe like three or four guys. You're talking Kevin Durant, Brandon Ingram, Michael Porter Jr. That might be the list of those like 6'8", 6'9" plus guys who can just absolutely lace the ball from 3 and really just has a knack for just hard, difficult shots. And he's really somebody that's just a matchup nightmare, and he does a lot for this Denver team in terms of just carrying the offense at points. And on a night where, let's not talk about it too much, but frankly, the Nuggets were down tonight. This is a night where the Kings, frankly, should walk out with a win. When they don't have Jamal Murray, when they don't have Jeff Green, who's been a solid bench piece for them, they don't have Aaron Gordon, who didn't play either of these 2 games. You should realistically expect to win this game. At some point, it sucks that the Kings lost last night. They don't have their best or second best player in Domantas Sabonis. It's slightly excusable. But you can't go through a game like tonight. You can't lose both of these games and then, play the moral victory card. You just can't. Like, if the Nuggets were going to be down the way they were tonight, it would have been rough to look at this little stretch of game, these past 2 weeks of Kings basketball and feel positive about it. I mean, for them to have the losses against Charlotte and the loss against, oh my God, I've tried to black out it from my mind. Washington last week, though. Washington, hey, don't look now, but the Washington Wizards are playing real good basketball after beating the 76ers last night and the Phoenix Suns tonight. But for the Kings to lose those 2 games, if they would have lost another 2 tonight, and last night to Denver, that's the kind of stuff where you look back at the end of the year and you're like, why did we end up as the 7-8 seed instead of the 6 or 5 seed? And it stretches like what we possibly could have been seeing here, but we don't need to talk about that possibility because that's not what happened. The Kings pull out the victory, 127-126. They play again on Friday right here in Golden One Center. They play the other biggest surprise team of the season so far. I would definitely say the 2 biggest surprise teams of the season have been the Sacramento Kings and their opponent on Friday, the Utah Jazz, who come into town on December 30th. That'll be a fun one because, they're a really well-coached team. Will Hardy has them playing incredibly hard. Lauri Markkanen has had a huge resurgence. That's a really long team, a team with crazy length. They run out at points. Jared Vanderbilt, Kelly Olynyk, and Lauri Markkanen. Those are 3 6'10", 6'11", 7-footers that they're throwing out there. The Kings have struggled so far this season going against height, not Domantas Sabonis. I don't suspect any of those guys being a problem for Domas, but it will be interesting to kind of monitor moving forward Domas's health. He played tonight. He looked incredibly healthy tonight. We don't know if he took any extra damage. It'll be something to monitor. You'd like to think that, with him coming in tonight, it's going to be a pain tolerance thing. And as long as it doesn't get re-aggravated, I guess he's just going to play with this for the remainder of the season. From the brief amount of research I did on his thumb injury, it seems like if you have surgery, you're pretty much guaranteed to miss 2 months. If you just want to miss time to let it rest, it's going to be a couple weeks. So the fact that he's playing through it, it's a little bit concerning because if he does re-aggravate or if something else happens to it, he's going to miss time. And you might wonder like, oh, should we have just gotten his injury time out of the way earlier instead of now when we kind of really need the wins? It's something that you won't really, it'll be Captain Hindsight will know. Again, please get in the comments your thoughts on tonight's game. Please be sure to hit that like button. Because every like is one beam lit. So we're trying to light as many beams as possible tonight. We've got the main one lit. Let's get all these beamers lit, please. Let's see again. Let's go to the comments. Let's see here. I do, I typically do have a mic stand, but tonight when I'm on the road / not at home, I gotta handhold it. So, whose mom did Metu slap? That is funny. The again, to not to, I talked about the backup big situation already, but I think Mezzi's got his place. I don't think Mezzi firmly earned his spot as the backup center. I think when he was first inserted, we saw it in the Golden State game at Golden State earlier in the season when the Kings had that infamous 90 point first half that they allowed to the Warriors. Mezzi came in that fourth quarter and really helped the Kings get going in that one, and the Kings only lost by 3, and then at that point it was Mezzi's role. We saw him run with it for about 15 or 20 games. And especially, the later half of that stretch, it was just really unimpressive. I think, it's not that Mezzi's a bad player. It's just, what the Kings need from their backup big, I think, is they need rebounding first and foremost, I think, and rim protection, which those are probably Mezzi's 2 biggest weak points. I don't think he's good defensively really at all, and his rebounding leaves a lot to be desired. He's an incredible athlete. He can jump out the gym. It just doesn't really translate on defense. So I think that's a big reason why we've seen him not get his role. And also, I mean, the facts are facts. He's just not that. He's a big guy. He's 6'9", 6'10". But when you see him go against these legitimate centers, he just size-wise doesn't really match up. So it would be the Kings going small, and he doesn't really provide the kind of stretchability that we saw from Trey Lyles last night. And, I think he also doesn't, you can't run the same offense when you have Chimezie Metu in the game. Mezzi is not nearly the screener that Domas is. It's obviously not the playmaker Domas is. So it's just you really have to adjust your team when Mezzi's on the floor. So I think that's a big reason why, and I think that's also in Mezzi's defense, nobody else is performing the same way that Domas is, and we see Mike and Jordy searching on the bench for somebody who can provide that kind of just consistency. I think is what they're looking for. Not really much of a drop off when Domas steps off the floor. Metu ain't been the same since he lit the beam. I don't remember when Mezzi lit the beam. That's really funny if that's true. Just tuned in. Want to say I'm glad the Kings won. Moving on to California. Let's see here. Silent says I just tuned in. I just want to say I'm glad the Kings won. I'm moving back to Northern California from Dallas. Shout out you. It sucks that you're not going to be able to watch Luka drop 60 anymore, but we welcome you back to Northern California. I'm currently in Albuquerque resting. 15 more hours to go. Silent, I am rooting for you. That I don't want to, not have you get hyped for the rest of your 15-hour drive, but that sounds terrible, man. I'm sorry. That's as somebody who's not the biggest fan of the Sacramento to Los Angeles or Sacramento to San Diego 6 to 8 hour drive. I feel for you. So let's hope. Hey, welcome back to Northern California, but you got a long way to go. So good luck with that. Incredible night. Just an incredible night. One of the funnest nights I've had here while having the opportunity to cover this team. This was definitely one of the more surprising outcomes that I've seen. Typically the Kings are on the other side of this, where they're up all game and then they give it up at the end in the most heartbreaking fashion possible. But it feels really, really good to be on the other side of this. Let's see here. Who am I going to give my player of the game to? This one is really, really tough because, I think at different points, newsflash, the 3 in contention are Sabonis, Fox, and Monk. And I think at points they were all equally important. I mean, I've mentioned how incredible Fox was in that fourth quarter. Malik Monk for really the entire game was consistently giving points. Malik also had 10 points in that fourth quarter, which I didn't realize either. But what a performance from Malik Monk. I'm looking at his stat line actually now. He had 2 points at the end of the first. He had 14 points at halftime, 23 points at the end of the third, and then ends with 33. So, you know what? I'm going to give it to Malik. Not a good first quarter, but, for him to score 31 points in 3 quarters, just such a huge spark. The Kings, as I mentioned, couldn't hit anything. They shot 30% from the field, 30% from 3 in that first quarter. No one could hit anything. And then for Malik and Domas to really step up in that second quarter was huge. But Domantas Sabonis, I think, has earned enough accolades and has earned enough praise from this team. So let's give it to Malik Monk. So shout out Malik. You get my player of the game tonight. On again, like I said, one of the funner nights that I've had during my media career. They have officially turned off all the ribbons and all the lights here at Golden One Center, so that means it's time for me to get out. Incredible, just an incredible night. 127-126, Sacramento Kings win. Let's go through the numbers one last time. Nikola Jokic leads the Denver Nuggets, 40 points, 7 rebounds, 6 assists for him. Bones Highland filling in for Jamal Murray, gets 20 points, 11 assists. Sacramento Kings, though, man, three players end up with 30-plus points. Malik Monk with 33 points on 21 shots. De'Aaron Fox, 31 points on 21 shots. He was incredible in that fourth quarter, as I've mentioned 100 times. He had 14 in the fourth. And Malik Monk, did I already mention? No, I'm sorry. Domantas Sabonis, 31 points, 10 rebounds, 5 assists. He extends his NBA leading double-double number. I don't know what it's at now. I just know he leads the NBA in double-doubles. Incredible night here in Sacramento. For Sactown Sports 1140, my name is Chris Watkins. Thank you all for tuning in so much. Go Kings! Like the beam.